This is my opportunity to shoot on Ari, finally. We chose the camera first because that's what excites me the most. When looking at pre-production, the way that I think about it is it's like a triathlon. So a triathlon, there's 3 different sports. It doesn't really matter if you're extremely good or excel at one of the 3 sports. They're all important because at the end of the race, you need to complete all 3 as applied to the film industry. And in this case, we have the pre-production, the production, and the post-production. Again, 3 components that are all equally important and all deserve as much attention as you can give. The part of the filmmaking process where it is the least cost to make changes. So if we want to make changes in pre-production, it's before we've hired any crew, it's before we've, purchased any outfits or any equipment that we need or rented any equipments and paid for any locations. It's basically before a lot of the money has been invested into the production and post-production process. In that light, I like to think of it as a good opportunity to kind of put yourself in a good place for production and post-production. And it's usually a place where you can be very open-minded and brainstorm a lot of concepts, which I also like a lot. When we really decided which camera we were going to use, for me as a DP, I was meeting up with my good friend Kevin, and he was working in downtown LA, and during his lunch break, we were looking at his friend's rental house where he rents out his red Komodo. They're called DFI rentals. So if you're ever in the LA area and you like to rent some equipment, and it's apparently the farthest east rental shop in LA, we were looking through the cameras and we saw a lot of Aris. We saw the Sony Venice and the prices were crazy. When I saw the Alexa Mini was going for $200 a day, I was like, man, this is my opportunity to shoot on Ari, finally. So I told Kevin, let's book that camera immediately. And little did I know later that the insurance would cost more than the camera itself, which is fine because in Taiwan to rent an Ari, it costs 30,000 Taiwan dollars, which is 1,000 US dollars. So looking back, to rent the Ari in the States, it's still more than half, 50% discounted. This was an amazing opportunity. Furthermore, it had a PL mount, and Kaley had brought 2 anamorphic lenses to LA with the Alexa Mini camera, and we'd be set to go there. So the next part of the pre-production process, after we chose the camera first because that's what excites me the most. We ended up going on a last-minute trip up to Big Bear. We stayed in a cabin with Kevin, who's a professional actor in LA, and he was with his fiancée Frances and Kaley, the director. We all met in the cabin and we started hammering out the script. The story was provided by Kaley. Kaley had in his mind what he wanted to put in the story, so he kind of started rough drafting the script first, and then in Big Bear, we had Kevin go through the script and kind of add things, change things to his liking, and he hooked us up with one of his actress friends, another professional actor based in LA named Lana, and we would meet her later on during the rehearsal, which would be the day prior to the actual shoot. In this pre-production phase in the cabin, we kind of hammered out the script, and we were in Big Bear for about 2 or 3 days, and then Kevin left, and then Kaley and I, we had about another week to prepare before we would start filming. And we had determined that we were going to shoot the short film on Saturday, and Friday would be a rehearsal day to kind of make sure we got the blocking down. That was something that Kaley really wanted to focus on during this film. He did a lot of research into the blocking, and we wanted to make sure that the actors had the lines and the chemistry was there, and I could also have a day to play around with the camera and get used to the settings. If I remember correctly, we had like 4 or 5 days before the rehearsal day. Kaley and I were going about to different locations for scouting. We checked out a lot of different pickleball courts all across LA. In Venice, for example, these pickleball courts aren't even allowed to be used for pickleball. I think it's only used for some other racket sport. The other pickleball courts we checked out, one was near a highway, so we would have had sound problems there. Another location was very serious and it needed to be rented out hourly. So there were a lot of things we had to dodge to pick the right location. Once we had the location chosen and we knew what it would look like, we then wanted to pick the color palette of what the actors would be wearing to complement or contrast with the colors of the existing environment. So we ended up choosing a park that I'm actually quite familiar with because my parents' house is close to it. Kaley and I, we went out and Kaley bought a couple of pickleball sets, 2 nets. One was a full professional size net, one was a practice size net. We bought paddles, the balls, like all the accessories we needed to sell this whole pickleball scenario in this short film. When we were shopping for the clothes, Kaley and I, we saw on the model, and I think it was Dick's Sporting Goods, neutral color tan, off-white color top and bottom, and we're like, hey, that looks pretty good. So I tried it on. It fit me okay because Kevin and I were pretty similar height and weight. We agreed to go with that look, and so we sent over the clothes to both actors. We wanted to keep this very simple, so it's just one location. We had 2 actors. The short film that we filmed last year had multiple locations, which made the logistics much more complicated during filming day. In contrast, much more script and acting dependent. We didn't have a gaffer either this time. It was, as you can see from, I'll show more behind the scenes in the next video about the actual filming, but we kept the crew very minimal. And Kaley got some new lav mics, the Rode Wireless Pro, which has a 32-bit flow audio, and he was monitoring the audio. He was going to monitor the audio, and then luckily the rental house also gave us 2 light modifiers. So we had a bounce, a stiff bounce, and we had a scrim to kind of diffuse the light, and we were going to use all natural light. I like this baseline of natural light for my first time using an ARRI, so I could really get a sense for the final image coming out of this industry standard camera. In terms of pre-production, I can't think of anything else right now, but we did do the rehearsal the day before, which I think helped immensely. We spent a couple of hours setting up the pickleball court, getting to meet the actress. It was Kaley and my first time meeting Lana, so it was nice to kind of break the ice so that the next day when we actually filmed the real thing, a lot of any potential problems would have already been covered. That's about it for the pre-production for this short film. I'm super excited to share with you more footage from this project. Yeah, if you have any questions about pre-production, feel free to drop them in the comments below. And I appreciate you watching this video and subscribing to my channel. Definitely have a lot more content coming to you soon. So I'll see you in the next one.
Action. Did I make her gay? Am I gay? Am I that bad? How can I not question my manhood right now?